Oh, whew. Just, wait a minute. Okay. Just finished up at the beach. Had a tantalizing, euphoric experience there. So much relaxation. I read, I left my book in the back. I read Continuing the 12th Insight. If you're not familiar with the Celestine Prophecy book itself and or the book series, please look into that book. I am not the fastest reader. I have not really been the biggest book reader in my life. I like learning and reading things of interest. And it took me a long time to figure out how to find the pleasure in reading. And what was it, last year I figured out, feed two birds with one hand. If I go to the beach and suntan, I will read and read and read and read and read. At that time, it was a challenge for me to learn to relax and slow down and just be present. So I was practicing that with tanning. I love tanning. I love the feeling of the sun. I love the effects. It's great. So I was like, well, if I can lay out and tan in weird places, can't I do that in a place where I can also consciously couple that with relaxing? Now, you'd think if you're laying and tanning, aren't you relaxing? No. My overactive mind would be like, and it would be just overworking, doing all kinds of things. So I paired that with present relaxing. First time I fell asleep on the beach was a significant moment for me because it was physical proof that I was in a place that I felt safe. And that awareness came through, at the time, a great friend who was like, Ayla, do you realize you just said you fell asleep on the beach? Your nervous system must feel so calm and safe for you to have been able to do that in a public place. And then one time I brought a book. You know, at first you're kind of like, oh, I'm the chick on the beach with a book. Am I actually reading the book? For a while, no. I was like, yo, read the book. It's been a game changer ever since. Now it's what I do. I am as tan as I am because I read on the beach. On the fourth book, the 12th Insight, nearly done, and I ordered the 2 after that. The mind state this book puts you in, or I should say calls you in, to comprehend it and not just like read, digest, like I've read it, but actually let it integrate, is otherworldly, is out of body, is very etherical, is very, very educational, profoundly life-changing. If you read this book, these books, any of them, start from the Celestine Prophecy forward, they will make more sense. Each book builds onto itself. There's so much that I could say about it. A topic that came to mind while I was resting. Between each chapter, I'll kind of digest it and I'll do like a napping half. Front side, back side, front side, back side. When I'm laying with my face up to the sun, often I will digest on one of those flip-flops. And the subject that came up is intuition. And Western culture really practices mental clarity. The skill of using our minds versus the skill of using our intuition. And often our intuition can feel inconvenient if it suddenly calls us to change plans and adjust what we thought we were gonna do. And because our minds are so practiced to make a plan and execute the plan, even the term execute is like, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to follow it through. This is the recipe. This is how you do it. And sure, there's a skill to that. If you're making baked goods and you put the butter in at a different time, in a different way, at a different consistency, your baked good will turn out different. So it's not to say that the mental skill is good or bad. It's that culturally we tend to really under practice our intuition. That's a whole rabbit hole in itself for another conversation. I want to discuss, how do we know when a thought we have is from our mind or from our intuition? Pow. This came to me and I'm like, since when? This is also discussed in the book, which I'm like, as a person who really receives insights in many ways, and I use my intuition a lot, this was a great question because I'm familiar with the topic. So I thought, gosh, if you're not even consciously using your intuition, how would you ever know what your intuition is or how it even communicates? Everybody is different. And at the same time, there is a theme, a trend on how intuition speaks to us through our organic bodies. Quantum physics can prove through modalities of science that we are energetic beings in an organic physical meat suit, a biological house. We are dwelling inside an animal. So it is our energetic body that receives intuition, as well as our biological animal offers us intuition based off of our senses. Now, if you smell something, if you taste something, if you see something, if you hear something, if you feel something, all these senses come into play that affect our nervous system, which affects our fascial system, the medium between the energetic and the physical, giving us information how to quickly respond. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, many different responses. On an energetic level, our intuition speaks to us due to our claras, clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance. Did I say clairvoyance? There's a ton of clara skills, powers, abilities that we can practice, we can exercise, we can tap into, and we can refine. And our intuition comes from our gut microbiome. We're blending all these topics together. Our gut microbiome is the first brain. Our body is made up of different microorganism colonies, microbiomes. When we don't eat properly to feed the gut microbiome, our brain functions differently. This is proven by science. When we grow our food in a way that is depleted and lacking minerals and micronutrition, the food we eat is lacking, in turn not feeding our gut microbiome, in turn affecting how our brain functions, in turn affecting how our intuition works and doesn't work, in turn affecting how we think, communicate, respond, react, and create our experiential world. It's a big deal. When we are eating food from healthy soil with indigenous microorganisms in the soil, in turn feeding our indigenous microorganisms, which is our gut microbiome in our stomach, which feeds every biome in our body, which aids the cellular productivity within our physical microcosm. which enhances the electromagnetic frequency in each cell in our entire body. Our energy capacity, which can be measured by science, affects every aspect of our existence and ripples out into the world, in turn also affecting each of us around each other. The whole good vibes, bad vibes, I just had a feeling, sus, all of that are terms based on our intuitive awarenesses about things, people, circumstances, all of that. Our intuition often speaks to us in physical sensations. We can hear gurgling, we can experience IBS, we can have sharp pains, our breathing can be affected, we can have biological systems affected by the intuition, breathing, headaches, flushy skin, sweating, nervousness, jitteriness. Sometimes our eyes can shake, our vision can go out of tune, our hearing can be affected. A lot of these things regarding our intuition talking to us come through the physical. When we are not in tune with our intuition, we can often perceive these symptoms we're having as phenomenons or medical mysteries or medical conditions that we then go to Western medicine for to address. They will give you a barrage of, Band-Aid treatments, of medications, of all these things, slap you with a disorder, and now you're living with the mind state that there's something wrong with me, when in a very simple example, we could just be with the wrong person in our life. We could be living in the wrong location. We could be listening to people's opinions, like family, and it's affecting us because we know that's not right for us, and now we're having IBS. When the truth is, if we were aware of our intuitions, if we are aligned with ourself, what is true for ourself, we would be making decisions differently, in turn living differently, moving accordingly. And oh my God, in the terms of when you say, I'm just gonna go move to a new place and start over, and now that person's thriving, that can be a huge aspect, is they listened to their intuition, they got the fuck out of there, they relocated, and in turn, everything starts blooming from there. In that metaphorical sense, we are the plant that we transplant and relocate, and now it thrives because it's in a better environment. All of this can be addressed on micro levels, to sourcing optimal water, to sourcing optimal food, to changing the music we listen to writing affirmations and addressing how we're thinking and talking internally to ourselves. There's a barrage of ways we can address this. When we become aware of our intuition and what it's telling us, inconvenient or not, our lives will improve. Does that mean it's easier? Fuck no. Often we will choose to ignore intuition because it's going to change something we've been used to, like a relationship, like a job, like a place we live in. It can feel scary to move to a different place because it's new. It can feel scary to end a relationship that we've been in for a long time because we're familiar with it and we know what to expect, even if it's bad, even if it comes with bullshit, even if it's not the worst thing, but it's mediocre, and you just know that there could be something else to life. Like, you could be living life with a little bit more salt in it, and now your life tastes a little better. But instead, we're just going to stay in mediocrity and just stay with what's comfortable. And then we die. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I should have changed something in the past. Sometimes our intuition is as simple as you're going on a road trip and you go to get in your car and then you feel something and you're like, something's off. We don't necessarily have to understand what the intuition is telling us. But we must become aware of the intuition and heed its warnings, because it's only here to aid us in remaining or getting into alignment and thriving to our optimal level. And when you bring in the aspect of trauma responses and hypervigilance, this can be also a tricky thing to learn, is when is it that my intuition is speaking to me, or my hypervigilance due to past trauma experiences that's speaking to me? Profound questions. That's going to be different for everybody. It's going to pertain to only your truth. Some structures to that question to consider are, is there a pattern to what I'm responding to? If I'm having a feeling of, I don't want to go to this party because I have a bad feeling, but you know in the past you've gone to a party where a traumatic experience happened and now you're alert about parties, consider that. Is it you've never had a bad experience at a party and today you're just having a weird sensation of, I feel like I should change my plans? That could be your intuition. Intuition often speaks to us through a thought that is accompanied by a visual, by a kind of like a mini micro movie overlay. I do understand some people, there's a condition where people can't imagine things. It's a whole nother conversation. I'm talking about for the general here. If, you know, say you're driving down the road and then all of a sudden you can be like, hey, I just saw like my friend at the beach laughing on a phone call while people were playing volleyball in the back. And you could be like, what the fuck was that? And then you get home and then your friend calls you and they're at the volleyball courts and they're like, oh my gosh, I just won tickets to a concert. Do you want to come with me? That would be an example to follow that intuition. If indeed you're seeing this and you're like, wow, this seems great. And then all of a sudden I saw myself at a concert, but I don't know what that would come from. It seems so random. That is a synchronicity insight, an intuition to follow, that which will provide a synchronicity, which will lead you to something significant and pertinent, relevant to your life and what you're doing. Maybe you end up meeting somebody who offers you a job. But if you didn't follow the intuition and you're like, no, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to like eat ice cream and just hang out by myself, maybe now you miss out on that experience. When your intuition is always seeking to guide you in the direction of what is going to fulfill your next evolution and abundance and alignment and purpose. So if you're like shopping at the grocery store and you're picking out fruit, or you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, weird, I just had a thought about my aunt. Or, you know, you're shopping and you're pushing through the clothes and you get like this hit of your elementary school math teacher and you're like, what the fuck is that? All of these images or these gut feelings or these unidentifiable sensations when you're moving throughout life are bits of knowledge your intuition is giving you, being like, will you listen? Will you listen to this? How about this? If we don't know about these things, often we can be like, I don't know what that was. Or you wonder, like, am I crazy? Or like, do other people see these things? Yes. This is because we are energetic force fields, explosions of energy inside a human animal, experiencing these senses, these skills, these abilities. I think phenomenon is a great word for something that's unexplained, but it doesn't mean it's not real. It can be a challenge to not only identify our intuition, learn it, listen to it, heed the warnings, follow it without question. Yet when we do, it never, ever, 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 ever steers us wrong. Ever. Period. Ever. Never, ever. You do not need to believe in a religion to tune into your intuition. You do not need to question if following your intuition is going to conflict with your religion. You could have the perspective that your intuition is God. I think that's great. A lot of people are more apt to listen to a religious God structure than their own intuition. A lot of religions do in fact teach that your intuition is God talking to you. However you get there, listen to it, learn about it, and follow it. It is divine. It is magical. It is perceived as like a superhero ability. It can be what saves your life, like that. You could be boarding a plane and you're like, I just had a feeling to back out. Fuck the ticket price. I'm not going. And then the plane crashes and explodes and you would have died. But in turn, you ended up meeting somebody at the airport and now you're off to save children from a disease you have only been studying by yourself, and this person has something that you needed in order to publish that teaching to save the children. It's imperative that we learn about health, to feed our gut right, to drink water, to hydrate ourselves efficiently, to learn about the importance of microbiomes in soil so we can grow healthy food, so we can consume the food to feed our gut, to think clearly, to function properly, so we can listen to the intuition and receive such insights and be connected to a higher source than this zoomed in microcosm of modern day 3D reality, where we need to work our jobs and put the fucking lotion on and get dressed and pay the taxes and do the things. Not that any of that's bad. We must learn about all these little aspects of life because it all feeds into itself, so that we can zoom all the way out and be living in alignment, on purpose, with purpose, connected in ways that are otherworldly, that are zoomed so far out beyond ourselves. We are moved in a spiritual, nearly unexplainable way. That's what I have for today. There's a lot that I could share on all the topics in between, but that's for another day. Read books, learn about things, question things, because questions lead to learning, questions lead to understanding. And sometimes understanding's not needed fully, but if we never ask, we will disregard the curiosity and in turn limit what it is we are here to embody and experience. And that'd be massive.